Yeah, it's John G. Sutton here. Tales from the Jail. Today I'm going to talk. I've been asked specifically, you probably read the comments, and somebody asked me to talk about the practice of prison officers drinking in the club at dinner times. But it wasn't just the prison officers, police used to do it too, you know. Every police station in England during the 60s and 70s, and certainly in the 80s, they had a bar. It was like a social club bar, like you would get in say, a conservative club, a Labour club, or a working men's club, a typical bar like that, where they would sell everything from, I don't know, draft mild to draft bitter, cider, lager, which came in during the 70s, and spirits. All the range you could get in a normal pub, you'd get in the bars, yeah? There was a bar at Bootle Street Police Station, yeah? And I was in there one night. It was my brother getting married for the second time. And I went in that's where he started off with his stag night, yeah? At Bootle Street Police Station, because he was a police inspector of the CID there. I think he was the head of the tactical aid group. When anything kicks off, they get a team of heavies going in with the shields and all the masks and the clubs and all that. Well, my brother was the CID inspector in charge of the tactical aid group at Manchester, based at Bootle Street. So anyway, it was the evening of his stag night, and he said to me, "You must come along, John. You must come along." Well, I have a drink, but I'd like to have a drink in my own house with my wife, so that it's quiet, no pressure, If I don't want any more, I won't have any more, I'm not in a group of piss artists, I don't like it. Yeah, but my brother was with the CID, and that was the general practice, So anyway, we're in the Bootle Street Police Club, seriously. And my brother says, "Have a drink, John, have a drink, have a drink," So I'll have half a shandy, I'm all right with that. I mean, don't forget, I'm on my way back home from the jail, And so I'm in the club, and he introduces me to Chief Superintendent, somebody or other, who was the head of CID for the Manchester area. And meet the man, shake his hand, it's nice to meet you, He said, "Oh, we're very proud of your brother, he's won this medal or something for locking police up and locking all these prisoners up. He's one of the top policemen and been in all the newspapers, called him Super Cop and all this, that, and the other. Him and his mate, yeah." So he said, "Tell me, John," he said, you see a man of experience." "Really, yeah." He said, "Why do you think it is that so many police officers get divorced? Why is the police notorious for getting divorced?" I said, "Are you being serious?" I said, "You're the head of CID. I said, "I'll tell you something." I said, "Have a look round the club here. So you see all these officers here, CID officers, wearing suits and drinking whiskey at the bar. I said, "This is just the start." I said, "It's what time is it now?" It was about 8:30, something like that at night. I said, it's only early in the evening." I said, "They're on the whiskey already, knocking the booze back." I said, "When they've finished here," I said, "they're going out. They're going to the Millionaires Club, Mr. Smith's, doing the clubs in Manchester, seeing what's on offer, picking up some loose totty that's on the bars. It was a common phrase for women of the night. I said, entertaining themselves, and they'll stay at this until 2, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. Go home, wake the family up, wake the house up." I said, "And don't forget, they'll be stinking pissed driving the cars." I said, "And the wives are going to be woken up, disrupted everybody." I said, "And you wonder why police officers are getting divorced." My brother, who was standing next to me, said, "You're making me look a right cunt." I said, "Listen, This guy's asked me, so you asked me, didn't you? I said, I've just told you. I said, anyway, I'm off. Have a great day tomorrow. So I went off, and as I walked out, this is God's honest truth, two big, I'd only just gone, it was about 2 minutes after I had this conversation, two big, hefty CID officers fell in step beside me as I was walking out of Bootle Street Police Station. And they said to me, John, you coming and having a drink with us in this bar here? There was a pub about 15, 20, 30 yards down from the entrance to Bootle Street Police Station. I said, no, I've got to drive back. I said, I'll just have half a shandy, I don't really drink much, No, we insist you're coming in this bar with us. I said, anyway, where you parked? I said, I'm on this car park here next to just behind the pub. Oh, right. Anyway, they went ahead, just a few steps ahead. I took about 3 steps back and ran like Billy O. Yeah, I nearly said something naughty then. I ran like Billy O round the back to where I actually had parked my car, which was not behind the pub. I'd parked it on a street about 2 streets up. Yeah, and it was a little yellow Mini, a 1000cc Mini, it was just a knockabout to get from where I lived in and back to Manchester, So I get in the car, put my head down, and drove out. I could see these two great big CID officers going round the car park, looking in all the parked cars. I know what the score was. They were going to snatch me, pour some whiskey down my mouth, whisk me into the station, and charge me with drunk driving. I know what was going to go on. Very sensitive me, So that was just a story of drinking in the Bootle Street Police Station. Yeah, they had a club at Leigh, a place called Leigh, Leigh, near Wigan. And my dad was a CID inspector there. And one Christmas they had the Christmas do in the club, all the police officers, on their wives, and they had a little cabaret on, and they invited, no joke, paid Bernard Manning. You know who Bernard Manning is? Yeah, big fat racist comedian from Manchester. Used to have a club, yeah, up a place called Harper Hay. Bernard Manning's internationally famous club. It was internationally famous in Harper Hay anyway. And he was the act. And he went on stage, sat right at the front, was a chief superintendent in charge of the police in the Leigh and Wigan area with his wife, and all the senior officers and their wives were sat next to him and behind him, Onto the stage came Bernard Manning. I don't know what they were expecting, but they got Bernard Manning. And he walked onto the stage and he said to the and he leaned over and he said to this chief superintendent, he said, "Is that your missus?" And the chief superintendent says, "Well, yes." He says, "Fucking look at them fucking tits. Have you seen size?" And he said, "Have you seen the size of these tits here?" Pointing to this chief superintendent's wife. He jumped up, this chief superintendent, and he called over the steward of the club, and he said, "You get this man off the stage immediately. Get it off." And that was the end of the show. I think Bernard Manning still got paid. He was a nice man, Bernard Manning, but he was a very racist and very vulgar comedian. I saw him one day at Strangeways. He came into Strangeways, wasn't at the club. He came into Strangeways on duty, and the drummer in his band, the resident band at his club, at the Embassy Club it was called, the resident drummer had been put in prison for non-payment of a fine. So Bernard Manning, seriously, he turned up at the prison gate and he paid the money in to free the drummer from his club, and he got him out. Because we all said, "What are you doing here, Bernard?" He said, "I'm not here for a joke, it's business, I'm looking after one of my staff." And he did. He was a kind man. And he did a lot of work for charity, which he didn't boast about, but he actually did, and he was a decent guy. The club itself at Strangeways, they used to sell Boddington's Bitter. I really liked Boddington's Bitter, but I was very reluctant to drink it in the club because I don't know if I've told you in a previous thing, there was a clique of about 4 or 5 mad officers, mad, in there. And if you went in there at night and got yourself a beer or whatever and sat down quietly, you weren't allowed to do that, no. They used to grab you and strip you naked and throw you into the streets. There was the entrance to the club. Was, if you look at the big gates, the big iron and oak gates, yeah, on Southall Street, on the left to them, maybe about, I don't know, 10 foot to the left, there's a blue door. It was painted blue when I was there. And you go up some steps in there, down into the basement, and that's where the club was. But further down the street, they had another door that you could go in and out of. That was for loading up the stock. Well, they used to grab you, strip you naked, and throw you out into the streets and shut the door behind you. So you had to run up Southall Street, which was only about 15-20 yards, run up Southall Street and get yourself back into the club through the door, except it was locked. You had to have a key to get in. So I saw that happen a couple of times to unfortunate people. It happened to the vicar. We used to call him the rocking vicar. He was one of the boys, you know. Ha ha, boys, you know. I'm one of the boys, I'll have a beer with you. And he was there having a beer with the boys in his cassock with his dog collar on. They grabbed him, dog collar off, clothes down, shreddies, ripped them off, trousers off, shoes off, socks off, start bollock naked, hurled into the streets. Yeah, the rocking vicar running up and down Southall Street with his bollocks dangling down. Eh? Tales from the jails. Aren't you enjoying these? It gives me PTSD, I'm telling you. Anyway, there has been a number of complaints about my singing. Seriously, I don't know what people expect. I mean, I'm not bloody Matt Monro, you know. And you deserve it. You lot bloody asked for it. So you're going to get it. Here we go. This is me. I'm going to emasculate this bastard, I'm telling you. This is In Dreams. Now, this is from one of my favourite films, directed by David Lynch. This is from a film called Blue Velvet. It was a hit in the 1960s for Roy Orbison, and it's me murdering without, I haven't got any mitigation for this, other than you lot deserve it. Yeah. So here I am, I'm going to crucify In Dreams. A candy-coloured clown they call the Sandman tiptoes to my room every night just to sprinkle stardust and to whisper, go to sleep, everything is alright. I close my eyes, then I drift away into the magic night. I softly say a silent prayer, like dreamers do. Then I fall asleep to dream dreams of you. In dreams I walk with you. In dreams I talk to you. In dreams you're mine all of the time. We're together in dreams. But just before the dawn, I awake and find you gone. I can't help it. No, I can't help it if I cry. I remember that you said goodbye. It's too bad it's only dreams. It only happens in my dreams. Only in dreams. In beautiful dreams. There you go. I sincerely, well, not too sincerely, in fact, hope that you enjoyed that. Tales from the jails. You just subscribe, it's all down here, you know, and it helps, so I believe.